Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of Rock Critic Unscripted. Lately people have kind of been accusing me of being too nice in my reviews lately. For example, some people said that I was way too nice to Panic at the Disco in my last Unscripted episode, giving that album a 4.5, when most people would rate it about a 3.5 or 4. Some people said I was way too nice to Megadeth when I said that, even despite the crappy singing and xenophobic as fuck lyrics, I still gave it a 3.5 out of 5. Some people even said I was being too nice to Dream Theater when I gave that album 4.5 out of 5. So, people have been saying I've been too nice, I've been too generous, I just am so positive in my reviews lately. Yeah, that ends today. Oh, God, guys. Bloc Party's new album, Hymns. I tried. I really, really tried to meet this album halfway, but oh dear God, this thing is just a mess. And guys, I'm a Bloc Party fan, too. You may have picked up on a hint here or there in some of my other videos, but yeah, guys, I've been a fan of this band for years, since Silent Alarm, pretty much. And, man, if there was anybody out there that was rooting for this album, it was probably me, because I love Bloc Party, and 4 was a great release. It was a terrific return to form for them, and I was hoping we would see more of that. But the minute I heard that Gordon Moakes and Matt Tong had left the band, I realized this thing was probably gonna be pretty ugly. But I didn't want to believe it. I seriously didn't. I mean, yes, Bloc Party's drums were easily the best part of that band. Oh my God, Matt Tong was just crazy proficient. He put a lot of effort into the drumming. It was way, way richer than it really needed to be. The guy was fantastic. And Moakes was certainly no slouch on bass either. But man, with them gone, I was afraid for this album. But, Keeley is still a really great songwriter, and Russell Lissack is still a pretty good riff crafter, so all hope wasn't necessarily lost with this release. That is until I heard it. It's just so piss-dribblingly boring. It's so soul-crushingly bland and lifeless. I listened to this thing at least 3 times all the way through, and it never got me. It never grabbed me. It didn't even feel like it was trying to grab me. I don't know what the hell this album was trying to do, but whatever it was, it fails. It fumbles pretty badly. I mean, right from the opening track, things are really off. The Love Within, while it's not a bad song, necessarily, it has a decent enough hook to it. It's very slow and subdued, a theme we'll be touching on more as this episode progresses. But it is still catchy, it is still, fairly listenable. It's not abhorrent or offensively bad or anything. And it does have a nice chorus, until it gets pitch shifted all to shit. Really, it's not justified. It's a decent song that kinda gets kneecapped by the execution. It's really a shame, because it could have been okay. It actually reminds me of some of the problems I had with Intimacy, Bloc Party's 3rd album, and easily their most controversial. I used to think I really hated that album. I hated that album for the longest time. When I first bought it, I couldn't stand it. But I listened to it again for this review, and it does have some real standout moments. It's very, very interesting in places. That album, I'll put it this way, it has the worst 3 opening tracks in fucking history. That album gets off to just the worst fucking start. My Mercury's in retrograde. My Mercury's Mercury's in retrograde. My Mercury's in retrograde. My Mercury's in retrograde. My Mercury's in retrograde. My Mercury's in ret. I don't like it. But at least that album starts off infuriatingly. Like, this album just kind of happens. It's also slow and subdued, and I mean, from the band that gave us tracks like Eating Glass, Hunting for Witches, Octopus, like, this is just so blah, so mediocre, and just listless. And on Only He Can Heal Me, we have a decent track, another decent one, if not way too slow and stifled, but it does have a nice beat to it. It has a catchy chorus, even if it does suffer from Mercury syndrome, by which I mean, and only he can heal me, and only he can heal me, and only he can heal me, and only he can heal. You get the idea, it's way too repetitive. And Good News was okay with its weird kind of country twang. The guitars are like really bright and like flangy, and there's even a bit of slide guitar in there too, which is okay. I was kind of digging the vibe that song gave us. But here's the bad news. Lol. Good News is about as heavy as this album gets. Were you the type that loved how vicious and crazy Silent Alarm was? Were you the type that liked how 4 really flew all over the place in instrumentation and design? This album ain't for you! And that's the thing. In this part of the review, I would usually go on to talk about what tracks don't work necessarily, and, you know, how they fail and how they sort of, you know, what makes them miss the beat so hard. But here's the problem, guys. Like I said, I listened to this album 3 times all the way through, and I even tried to listen to individual tracks on their own accord separately to just try so hard to get them to stick, and nothing did. This album's biggest problem is that it's homogeneous. It's so samey. It sounds like Keeley basically wrote one song and just rewrote it over and over again. I can barely tell them apart. And I'm the kind of guy that actually doesn't mind that, you know? Like, I'm a big fan of Motorhead, I'm a big Ramones fan. Like, I've always said there's nothing wrong with having one trick and doing it exceedingly well. But Bloc Party isn't a one-trick pony! They are so good at so many different styles! But here, it's just the most milquetoast. Just neutered. Just soulless, ironically enough. Just, it's dead! This album barely has a pulse. The tempos never rise above just meandering and slow. And I'm not sure whether to blame that on the new drummer. I mean, the thing is, like, it's not necessarily bad, but she does nothing original, nothing new or colorful. She doesn't put her own stamp on the style. She's just kind of there. Same thing goes with the bass work. He's just kind of thumping along. He's not doing anything terribly interesting, anything to give the tracks some, you know, some foundation or some shake or some, you know, something to make it exciting. These songs that Keeley wrote are just, it's just Elmer's glue. It's beige and banal, and guys, I'm running out of synonyms for boring here. What the hell else can I say? This is the kind of review that if I were making a quickie about it, I'd be banging my head against the wall trying to think of shit to say. And for a Bloc Party album, that should never be a problem! Like I said, as much as I hate the really poor tracks on Intimacy, at least they infuriated me. At least they went to the trouble to make me pissed off. This album, it barely even woke up and showed up for class. It's just, it's like it's not even there. And believe me, I get it. I know that Keeley was really looking to change things up this time. He was really looking to do something different with the Bloc Party sound. He even says as much in, what song was it? Into the Earth, where he says, rock and roll has got so old, just give me that neo soul. But, look, man, if this is neo soul, if this is the new soul sound, I'll stick to the classics, thank you very much. The old soul, it wasn't rock and roll, but it wasn't fucking boring! And I feel like I'm kind of ranting and raving about this album a little bit. It's not atrocious. For what it is, it's, you know, it's not horribly arranged, it's not horribly mixed, it's not unlistenable necessarily. There is a certain stripe of Bloc Party fan that's probably going to be okay with this. But this isn't going to be anyone's favorite Bloc Party release. I can tell you pretty much right now, if you're a Bloc Party faithful, this album will probably piss you off like it is me. Because you know Bloc Party can do so much better than this. And the thing is, people that are new to Bloc Party sound might also be okay with this album. I feel like I'm kind of the old man kind of grumping and griping. Back in my day, Keeley was you know. I don't necessarily want to be that guy. If you're not familiar with Bloc Party, there might be some interesting elements. You see, it's not without a few good songs. There might be some stuff you like, but the thing is, the minute you hear another Bloc Party album, you'll forget this album even exists. That's my biggest issue with this album. It's so forgettable. And, God, of all the adjectives I could use to describe Bloc Party, forgettable up to this point was not one of them. Like, I understand that Bloc Party is a band that have always tried to shift their sound. They've never had one specific style that they've stuck to necessarily. And they like to mix things up. They like to change around. That's one of the things we do love about them. But, I don't know, other Bloc Party fans, help me out here. Is this what you were asking for? Is this the bold new shift in direction and style that you guys were clamoring for? Because I sure as hell wasn't! At the end of the day, this album just doesn't even sound like a Bloc Party record. I mean, the old rhythm section missing adds a lot to it. Again, I'm not sure if that's because the other two just aren't really in the groove with the rest of the band yet, or if Keeley just gave them horrible direction. It's like the Fantastic Four movie that came out recently. It was a piece of shit, but we're not 100% sure whether it was just always going to be a piece of shit, or if it was because, you know, the director got screwed over. Like, it's kind of like this. I don't know if, like, those two are just not the right ones for the job, or if Keeley just wrote some shit songs that no one could really save. But, yeah, this album is just so disappointing. And I hate that I have to say that, too. Because, like I said, like Silent Alarm, Weekend in the City, like, even 4 are just some of the best kind of, modern revivalist post-punk that we've gotten in their specific era, at least. Like, it's so good, the previous works we've got from them. And this thing is just so bleh. This album just doesn't sound like Bloc Party. It sounds more like one of Keeley's solo albums. And even then, I mean, I'd much rather listen to Boxer or something like that than this. I mean, even Keeley's solo stuff has more energy and vitality in it than this cakewalk. It's just so... I think I'm officially out of synonyms for dull. I feel like I've just repeated myself over and over. It's boring, it's boring, it's boring, it's boring. Well, guys, I don't have much else to say about this album. It's boring. It's soul-crushingly boring. The fucking Heroes reboot wasn't as boring as this. This is just... Oi. No. No, I pass. I pass big time. Guys, I hate to say it, but yeah, this is easily the worst Bloc Party album to date. It almost feels like I shouldn't even call it a Bloc Party album. It's really pretty bad. And it sucks because we now officially have a very strong contender for our worst of the year list this year. Guys, with its lifeless instrumentation and really bizarre change in direction and musical style, I'm giving this album 1.5 better Bloc Party albums out of 5. Seriously, pick up any other Bloc Party album before this. Hell, pick up Intimacy before this. Just stay away from this, unless you're just the most devoted Bloc Party fan on the planet. Thanks again for watching, guys. Just a few reminders. MagFest is coming up very soon. Like I said, I'll be there this year, so if you're in the area, feel free to say hi. You know, I'm open to saying hi to fans. This will be the first time I've probably met anyone as far as that goes, so hey, if you're in the area, definitely feel free. Also, just wanted to let you know, a new Critical Condition will be coming out within the next couple of weeks here. That'll be on Anthrax's For All Kings. You'll definitely want to stay tuned for that one. I just finished the script for the Into the Unknown review, so we're going to start shooting that very, very soon, and I'm still aiming to get that out before MagFest, but guys, I can't make any promises. It just depends on how many lucky breaks I can catch at this point. I don't think it'll be too crazy hard to shoot, but just know that I'm working my ass off to get that out to you as soon as possible. I'll try to get it out before MagFest, but please don't hold me to that. It should be out sometime in February, though, unless hell erupts or something, which, with my luck, I wouldn't necessarily count out. But that is my top priority at the moment. Plus getting all the February Patreon stuff out. There should be a new Patreon quickie coming very soon. Well, maybe after MagFest, but that one, that's another review you should see in February. Also, some new Patreon songs are coming down. There's a lot of stuff. February's, like I said, February's going to be very busy for me, so stay tuned to the channel, and I will definitely be sure to keep you guys updated. Thanks again for watching, and remember, the only opinion that really matters is your own. Cheers.